It really was the power of visualization.
So, um, at every point in every professional athlete's career, basketball, football, baseball, whatever, they get to low points. Like where they just kind of like they don't know if they're gonna make it. And I wanted to know, like, what was your how did you get out of that stretch? How did you get out of that low point of like, okay, let me suck it up and kind of get out of that.
It was something that, and it sounds so simple, and I apologize ahead of time because it's not as prophetic as it should probably be, but it really was the power of visualization. But when I was at my lowest, right, in transitioning, having self doubt, unsure of myself, unsure of my talents, my worth, um, I visualized on what it is that I wanted to do next, and that's the hardest part because the hardest person to get to know is yourself because we all have denials. But
Mhm.
once you break all of that and you humble yourself and you go, hey, hold on, what am I good at? What am I not good at? What is it that I want?
Mhm.
So at the lowest, I took that time when I felt naked and afraid. I took that time to just really stay prayed up and
Mhm.
focus on what I want because, like a navigation system, once you punch the destination in, it will give you your route. It
Mhm.
will literally
Mhm.
give you your route. And it's the same thing with visualization. Once you visualize, you're setting a destination and everything else starts to follow. And
Mhm.
so I think that's the difference in those who make it out is the people because it may not happen in a year. Like for me, people look and go, oh man, Akbar, you made it. And I was like, whereas I feel blessed by that, I'm like, but there was a story before that first real opportunity in 2012. My first television job, I was making $26,500. Like I mentioned, I left with $300,000. By the time before I even hit my career in broadcasting, I was down to my last $40,000. I was living at my dad's house. I lived in my dad's house, the house that I grew up in from 2010 until 2016, the neighborhood that I
Mhm.
grew up in. So but it took perseverance. It took that gas to get to that navigation. Most people would have checked out like, man, it's a pipe dream. And it started to feel that way. I was able to come out on the other end of that, and I stayed with it. I chose this path, and eventually, if I'm patient enough, I'll get to my destination.
But
Yeah.
that is great.